Hi everyone, my name is Ibtisam. I'm from Palestine, and in this video, I'll be talking about Mahmoud Darwish, who is a Palestinian poet and author, and I will be explaining why is he very important for Palestinians and why he is a bit different from other poets and authors and writers. Um, Mahmoud Darwish is a Palestinian poet that was born in 1942 in a small village in Palestine. In 1948, during the catastrophe, which we call it Nakba, which means catastrophe in English, he became a refugee and he left to Lebanon. But still, he was always able to sneak back into Palestine, even though he was not allowed to, and therefore he spent most of his life between Lebanon and Palestine, and he used to always also live sometimes in France. So he spent his whole life between these three places. Um, Mahmoud Darwish figured out that he can play with words and literature since a very young age. So he used this to write political articles, pieces, and poetry, and all these things. And it was always getting published in newspapers and magazines. And because it was very political, he was always getting arrested for these things from the Israeli side. Which made him being known from such a young age as a Palestinian poet who fights, as a Palestinian author who fights for Palestine for his words. Um, Mahmoud Darwish is a very important poet for a lot of people in the Middle East, especially in the literature world, because he was one of the first authors and poets that introduced the modern Arabic poetry and invented symbolism in it. And symbolism is very important in the Arabic literature because it basically shapes it, and he uses it a lot in his poetry and in his books and everything. So it just makes him um, a very important like person in the literature world. But even though these were the facts about why Mahmoud Darwish is a very important poet and a bit about his history and how he got a bit famous with words. Still, he's very different than any other Palestinian poets for Palestinians, even though he still uses his words to fight for Palestine. But we are more connected to him. We appreciate his words more, and we I think we do appreciate all of his words and everything, and that's because of if like specific things that I'll be talking about now. So Mahmoud Darwish's poetries have very mixed emotions and feelings. So it doesn't, the rhythm of emotions are not the same. In one poetry, he would be talking about the same thing, but he would mixes it with love, hope, homesickness, and sadness, and all these things, which makes his poems very close to someone's heart, and he uses even if he would be talking about the occupation and the wars and everything, he wouldn't be using angry words or angry vocabs, but instead he would be using calm vocabs, but a very powerful one, which makes us the new generation that wants peace and everything and wants hope feel more connected to his words, because obviously it's full of passion and everything, but it's still very calm and very hopeful, and it makes us feel like it it gives us hope for a better life and better future. And also it shows his readers, um, all his poems shows his readers the very nice side of Palestine. So he wouldn't be only describing how awful the occupation is uh, doing and how awful it is, like creating, like how awful it creates stuff in Palestine, how it affects on people's mentality, but instead he would be describing how the events would be happening in Palestine without occupation, how it would be picking up olives, how it would be singing and dancing and wearing our traditional clothes to a wedding. He would be describing these things, which makes us feel like empowered to fight for Palestine, but at the same time, it doesn't create hatred, which is very important for the new generations that do not want more wars, but instead they want peace. So it makes us empowered by solving the issue, by getting Palestine back, by getting the occupied cities back, but do not feel like the hatred is eating us, but instead these empowering words are creating passion and all these feelings to for hope. We're not ruled by hatred, but instead we ruled by how amazing Palestine would be without occupation. So, and for that, and also the last point is Mahmoud Darwish talks about Palestine as if he's talking about his first love. So if he did not mention the word Palestine, people would be confused thinking he's talking about his first love towards this lady. But actually, these poems are towards Palestine, which makes it very nice and very close to reader's heart. So I'll be reading this poem and I'll read it in English, in Arabic, then in English, because it's a very important poem to me, and we Palestinians appreciate it so much. It gives us so much hope. So this poem's name or title is On This Land, على هذه الأرض. على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة. تردد إبريل رائحة الخبز في الفجر، تعويذة امرأة للرجال، كتابات إسكيلوس، أول الحب، عشب على حجر، أمهات تقفن على خيط ناي، وخوف الغزاة من الذكريات. على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة، نهاية أيلول، سيدة تترك 40 بكامل مشمشها، ساعة الشمس في السجن، غيم يقلد، سرب من الكائنات، هتافات شعب لمن يصعدون إلى حتفهم باسمين، وخوف الطغاة من الأغنيات. على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة. على هذه الأرض سيدة الأرض، أم البدايات والنهايات، كانت تسمى فلسطين، صارت تسمى فلسطين. سيدتي، لأنك سيدتي، أنا أستحق الحياة. That was the poem in Arabic. Now I'll be reading the poem in English. On this land, there's what makes life worth living. April's hesitation, the aroma of bread at dawn, a woman's prayer for men, Aeschylus' writings, the beginning of love, grass on a stone, mothers standing on a thread of a flute, and the invader's fear of memories. On this land, there is what makes life worth living. September's end, a woman leaving 40 in full bloom, the hour of sunlight in prison, a cloud reflecting a swarm of creatures, a people's applause for those who face their own erasure with a smile, and the tyrant's fear of songs. On this land, there is what makes life worth living. On this land, the lady of our land, the mother of all beginnings and the mother of all ends. She was called Palestine. Her name later became Palestine. My lady, because you are my lady, I deserve life. Thank you so much. I hope that was a little bit helpful why Mahmoud Darwish connects a lot with his words with Palestinians and why he's a little bit different. Um, yeah, I hope I was a little bit helpful. Thank you guys.